This is the demo for the Interop Alerts SDK. As you can see here, we already have the SDK, which is deployed on NPM and available. Here you'll basically find the instructions to install it, a brief description, and a few other little things. Here we can clearly see all of the comprehensive documentation available at OP Interop XYZ. There's a very helpful Get Started section, a detailed explanation of precisely how to install it, a thorough explanation of each of the individual modules, a complete and illustrative example, and well, let's proceed directly to the demonstration. For this particular example, I have it already deployed. I have it actively running on op against, meaning specifically Optimism against base, and we are now going to run it. As you can see here, we have the configuration for the source and destination chains. For the demo, we have set the tracking interval to 1 minute, which is how often pings will be sent from chain to chain. What we highly recommend is to precisely do it every 10 minutes, since that's sufficient and valuable information for us. To know what's happening on the network without overloading either of the two networks too much. Obviously, it will depend on the use case and what you need, which is why it's configurable. But anyway, for the example, we have it set to 1 minute. And this is basically something we did just for the example, which is that every 10 tracking intervals, it will send a message to Slack and tell us what state it's in. You can also configure this however you like. Alright, here we have the ping transaction at the source, which would be in OPS Polia. Let's see if I can select this. And we're going to check that the ping transaction was actually sent. Here we have a success. If we go to the logs, we can see that there was a send message, meaning the message was sent to this destination. And as we can clearly see, after that, it waits for the relay process, and we should definitely have this transaction recorded in base, unequivocally indicating that the successful relay of that message has already been fully completed. We can observe it here within the comprehensive logs. We should diligently find one of these. Indeed, one of these specific entries should be the relay. Perhaps it's not explicitly labeled with the correct name, but without a doubt, one of these numerous logs should undeniably signify the relay. Further down, we have the result. Well, it was a success, and it will give us a lot of information about the two events that occurred, which are the two most important events. It will tell us how much time passed, give us the gas used, and so on. Down here, this already goes through the metrics module and calculates the state of the interop. So for now, it's active, the timing is on time, and it's healthy. And here it will show us the window that is being processed, the time window that was processed. This will be cumulative. Right now we only have one message, but if we let it keep running, we'll have more messages, and this will give us a more realistic statistic. The gas used, the latency, how many messages arrived on time, how many were delayed, and it will also give us a recommendation. In this case, the system is normal and operational, but it might tell us that there is some congestion on the network, or it might suggest that we use another RPC, different things based on this information. The SDK will give us these recommendations, and then we decide what to do with them. Well, here it failed. For example, it couldn't send the message, probably because I ran out of gas or something like that, but it doesn't matter. It tells us there was an unknown failure. This is probably because it was due to the gas issue, because of so many tests. But anyway, it's also a way to see it. It tells us it's critical, right? And no. It's a good example to show as a demo, because here we can also see the recommendations that can vary significantly. In this particular case, it explicitly tells us to carefully check the RPCs and to thoroughly verify the smart contract configurations. Accordingly, possible failures that could happen, to check and know what state Optimism is in, what state base is in. It could be that something is down at some point, or it could be more about the RPC we're using. And well, here for example, it tries again, Maybe what happened is that it took too long and couldn't do it. If it takes too long to receive the relay, it also considers it as a failure. Too long could mean starting from about 15 minutes. Then I tried to do another ping, and this one is correct. We keep watching. And here we already have a total of 3 messages sent, where 2 were successful, 1 failed. So here we have a success rate of 66.67%. Here it will show us the number of messages we can send per hour, the ones we are sending per hour. These are metrics that will be useful to us depending on the case and what we want to look at. We won't always want to see all the metrics, but rather those that we analyze as being appropriate for our case. Well, and so on. Alright guys, that's the end of the demo.